welcome back. As you guys just heard, yeah, brakes are squealing on this thing. Went storm chasing last week. We got a little bit hard on the brakes. A little bit hard. So today, we're going to find out why we got hard into the brakes and what the problem is. I have an idea. Maybe it's something else. Let's figure it out. So, wonderful day here today. 32. Still got snow. 34, something like that. It's supposed to be up in the 60s next week. Can't wait. Anyways, let's get back on Trailblazer and let's do a quick walk around. So, for those who saw, we had the live last week during the thunderstorm. We took some hail. I took some hail. And you can kind of see I got some more hail dents on the hood here. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, can't see. There's one in the light there. And once you notice one, they all start just populating out. Right there's another big one. So, yeah, they're all over. Of course, had some from the storm on the summertime. But we got more. It's all right. That's what this thing's for. Other stuff we got walking around here. I don't really like this giant gaping rust. I don't. Gotta address that. Gotta address that before it gets even worse. Tires, they seem to hold up pretty well. Backside Jones here. We're all good there. That was from me from last year. Might have to address on that a little bit. This, I don't like that. Gotta address that. And yeah, what else do we got? Oh yeah, this side. That one's getting a little bit bad. Little bit bad. So, yeah, we're over here. Not too terrible. This side. Being that it is a storm chaser, you got issues, all right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna show you what I mean. You're in here for quite some time, and it just kind of turns into a mess. You get stuff everywhere. You start throwing stuff everywhere here. You know, I kind of did a quick sweep on it, but we got just stuff from storm chasing still just kind of floating around. So we got to do some cleaning up. But first I want to get the brakes looked at because I think that's a real simple fix. And then we'll start addressing the other stuff. So what I believe happened is I got a little hard on the brakes and these shifted. And they decided to start constantly rubbing on the rotors. And yeah, backside got a little, I don't know if you can tell that or not. She grooved a little bit, but I don't know. That's what I think. Could be this top one up here. I'm gonna pull the caliper off and we'll look at it. So the pads, you can see, we just did these more than enough meat on them. Got in here with some pliers and I yanked it over. So I think that inner one was rubbing. And on this lower one, yeah, that's not close, but that is close. So I think that's what was causing our sound. And it's doing it on both sides. So what are we going to do about that? Well, initially I'm thinking just remove it completely, because why not? But I do believe it has something to do with sliding the brake pads on, keep them from doing bad things, I guess. I don't know. I'll look at this. Maybe we'll clearance them out. We'll see. Yeah, definitely going to need them because if the pads are in here, you can hear we'll have, you know, all that kind of slack going on, and I'm assuming the same thing goes for this one here. Yeah, it's not going to be quite a tight fit in there, so she's going to rattle around, and we don't want the rattling. They're just as bad as our squealing. And also, you can hear that was the sound that it was making. So, let me show you the bench and what I'm thinking. So what I did is I took my file and I kind of just filed it. You can see I got, you know, a little bit on there. I'm going to work at it a little bit more, but I'm just going to file them down. Could take a zip disc and zip it down, but this is so thin it'd probably bend it to crap, and then I'd be screwed. So I'm going to file these down a little bit. I don't need much. So get her done and put her back together. And just like that, when the brim is on, caliper's in place, we're going to have our clearances on top and bottom. So I'm going to put a little bit more of this brake caliper grease on them things and put her back together, do the other side, and move on. Okay, so now got the antennae for the cell phone mounted back on there. And I just decided to mount it to right there so I can slide it, adjust it back and forth, you know, for purposes. And now I got the lights pulled back off the rack. We're gonna just mount these back onto the roof bar right now, because honestly, that big giant rack is kind of heavy for a Trailblazer, and I'm not chasing Gorilla Hail right now. Soon, maybe? Not right now. But I do like having the lights on this thing, so putting the lights back on it. Also, I got this additional one from Harbor Freight. Can't believe how nice these things are. And what I'm thinking is I want to mount it back on this rack back here, facing backwards, so that way when it's nighttime and really dark, I got some lights shining backwards. Sides, front, back, will all be covered. So the next day, here's where I got to. Got the front light bar mounted back on. Wires, of course, are just dangling, you know, the dangly ones. Got the rear lights mounted up how I want them, of course, facing down. So I got both sides, and then I mounted that one right there in the back. So what I'm going to do now, while I'm waiting for, you know, the sun to really come out and warm up things, I'm going to tape off this because I don't like how it's white. We're going to paint it black so it looks a little bit more appealing. And we're going to do it the professional way with, you know, spray paint and scratch pad. So right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't know. I don't know if you can paint this stuff. It's a freaking cell phone booster. Whatever. It is what it is. Things are what the things are. But I'm going to. It's plastic. Why not? So give it something to stick to. We'll just get her all scuffed up and tape things off and shoot a coat on there. So now you don't want to overspray on everything, so make sure you get everything you don't want paint on covered, you know. And by the way, if you ever got dirty hands, those work really well for scrubbing your fingers, getting all the nooks and crannies when you got grease all over them. Anyways, remember, light coats. Don't worry about a test pattern, just light coats. Let that flash for a minute, come back, start putting on another coat. Let that flash, put on another coat until it's covered, then you're good. Now I did go ahead and quickly sand that off with the scratch pad and put a little coat of paint on it. I'm gonna put another coat on there and just get that covered up for right now, because if we don't do something with that very soon, that's gonna be a hole. And I don't want a hole in the quarter panel because that's even harder. Door, don't really care so much because I can replace these and actually have a lead on some doors that I'm going to be getting soon, because, you know, it's still a little eaten up and whatnot. But we'll get some new doors. But for this, I don't want that to, you know, become that. that I think I'm gonna try to patch, because the tailgate's like $300, but I'll at least get this to slow it down some. It's not gonna stop it until we really get in there and treat on it and do everything I need to, but I got plans for that. So now what we got our wire all sorted out. I gotta go through and figure out, obviously this one I used as a ground. So that'll be our ground for all the 4 lights up here. I gotta figure out which wire went to what. I think this long one went to the other side over there. This one I believe was this one, which would have been that one, and then this front one is for here. I mean, it's just in order on my switch panel how it goes, but I think better safe than sorry. I'll get the multimeter out and see which one is which, and then I'll just hook them up right. I also did have this shrink tubing I think I'm going to use in lieu of this loom. Make things look a little bit neater, tidy them up a little bit, hide stuff. More weather resistant, I guess. So I'm gonna do some wiring here and yeah.
No mistakes.
Forgot to mention that I have these quick connectors that are weather tight. We're going to use those on those lights too, so I'm going to get back at it. Well, shucks. We're back to being where we need to be. Got the front light all mounted up. Well, that's a bummer. I got no power in my box anymore. Check the fuses on the backside. Those are good. And all I did was hook up that purple wire right there to my rear light. It was working before I crammed it into there. Now I got to figure out why it's not working. I don't think that's going to be a today problem. I think that's going to be a I really don't want to mess with it right now problem. Figure it out here another day. So we pulled her into the garage. And I had all the wires out. I was like, why don't I go ahead and check something else out? And that was me and my ingenious designing. I installed a fuse right there for all of my roof rack lights and such. And it just so happened to be that it was a 25 and it popped. Oh, okay. So I swapped that out. Guess what? Now we got the lights going on here. This one is that one. I think that's like over there. That's like rear strobies. And then this one is that strobies. And then of course we got the rear top light up here now. So just that important to check out your fuses.